Everyone, Petra here with Petra's Creative Plans. Thank you for joining me today. So today we are going to be making this beautiful little art journal. All right, so it has an elastic ribbon closure. And then when you open it up, I've got this beautiful sealed inside page. And I love this quote, "Perhaps this very instant is your time." And then we have loads of paper in here, and now this is the Canson Bristol paper. It is super smooth. This is perfect for watercolors, acrylic paints, my jelly gouache, any of my my Tombow markers, any of that. You can do junk journaling, art journaling, sketching. I mean, you can do anything with this paper. It's fabulous. It's nice and thick. And then at the back, we do have a little pocket page where you can store some of your ephemera and things like that. So if you're interested in seeing how I made this art journal step by step, sorry, I'm getting myself twisted here, step by step on how to make this beautiful art journal, then stay tuned. Alright, so I'm back. I've got my two covers here. They are drying and looking fantastic. So what I want to do now is I think I'm going to give these a little bit of an antique look. So I have this ink pad, this inker here, and the color is Knotted Wood, and this is by Prima. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to go just around the edges here and give it a little bit of an aged look to it. Alright, so that's done. I'm just going to grab my little paper towel I have here and give this a little wipe. That is also why my desk gets stained, because I'm always doing things and making things, and I can get a little clumsy at times and drop stuff. So we've got our covers here, okay, our front and our back. So now what we need to do is we want to finish off the insides of them, like this. Okay, and that one I want to kind of rub that in a bit more. So now we want to finish off the insides, and so for that we are going to be using this paper here. And so we want this to be almost as big. Okay, so we need to measure that out. So we are looking at making this pretty well 6 inches by, let's see, not quite 6 inches by 9 inches is what we do. Okay, pull out my cutter. And one piece at a time. So we are going to cut this at 6 inches. And then we are going to cut it at 9 inches. Okay, and let's just line this up to make sure that our sizing is how we want it. That is. Okay, fantastic. So we'll go ahead and cut the second sheet. So we're going to do 6. And then we're going to go ahead and go 9. And then I do want to try and use this ink pad just to go around these edges as well if we can. That is done. I'll have to order some new inks. I'll just wipe that up for now, and then I will clean my desk after we're done. All right, so now we are going to glue these on to here. All right, so same thing, same process. Move these aside, get my glue out. Okay, I've got my glue ready to go. I've got my bigger brush here because it's way faster. Okay, and I'm not putting the glue on here. I'm going to be putting the glue on to the paper. All right, I think that's good. You can fold this over, and this is the tricky part, is we want to really line it up. We will have a few very brief amount of time here to kind of move it and adjust it. Just get it as best as you can. Smooth it down. Grab that brayer. There we go. Away we go. Okay. Fantastic. So again, I'm going to stick this under something heavy just for a bit while that dries. And then we will do the same process on this one. And then from there, we're going to unclip this and see how it's looking. Okay. It's on there pretty good. Okay. Now I've got glue all over my fingers. What I didn't think about is the last step that we just did. I should have attached this first. Because now, when we have these covers, so we have our cover, when you open it up, this fabric is actually going to get attached to this cover here. So what we're going to have to do then this will get attached to here, and there's going to be another piece that's going to come over this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to trim the fabric kind of at an angle. It'll get attached onto here, like so. Okay, so that when you open it, this will be on here. But then I'm going to have another piece of paper, and it's going to come part way. So we'll find something that we like that goes with this, and it will come over and attach to this side as well. So this fabric essentially is going to be sandwiched between the pages. Okay, and I could do it with the white, but I don't want it to be the white. I want it to be something that matches this better. So it's okay. I would have like to have had the polka dots be the whole inside, but it'll just be part of it now and we'll make it work. And that just goes to show that things don't always necessarily go exactly how you think they will. And so basically what's going to happen is the book is going to be like this, and then we have the spine, and then we're going to have more of this fabric that is going to come over, and it's going to get stuck down like this to make the final binding on the outside. And then what we can do as well is make an elastic closure on it with one of these, and that'll come just from the back cover. So we can do that, or we can have it be one that goes like a loop from the front and it loops onto something. We'll decide. I haven't quite fully decided yet. Or I may not even have a closure on it, but it would be very easy to have it come around like a little loop, you know, and that would look nice. The other thing too is I might find some lace or something that we can attach over this edge just to keep a really nice finished edge. I'll take a look at what I've got in my drawers here, but that's kind of just to give you an idea of where we're going with this, okay? So let's let these dry, and then we will come back to this. So I will clean everything up, I will let these finish drying, and then we will go from there. All right, we'll be back in a bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim off some of these excess strings here. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of pull this to the edge. I know it's damaging that paper a little bit, but it doesn't matter because that will be covered. Okay, and we're going to trim this down just so that it's not too much excess there. And we're going to trim this side down too. And I just want to cut it at an angle. It doesn't have to be exact. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just makes it a little bit less bulk in those corners, okay? And we'll do the same thing on this side. Okay, we're going to just free this up where it's really stuck to that paper. Okay, now we're going to trim this at an angle. This side as well. See that one just a little bit more. Okay, so we've got that. And I think we're going to go ahead and mark and cut the fabric to go on the outside of the binding. So I've got my other piece of fabric here. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing. We will start off with a straight line at the bottom to help us stay straight and even. Okay. And so for this one, we're going to have it come in and kind of wrap over a little bit. So we need our, let's just start. I'm going to flip my ruler upside down. So we want it to be, I think we want to have at least an inch overhang on either side, which means we want it to be 11 inches because our book is 9. So we want it to be 11 inches high. So we're going to draw this out like this. Okay, 11 inches. And then for the thickness, I don't know that I want it to be too thick. So I think we're just going to make this one 3 inches. Because that gives us just over 1.5 inches. Well, if we put this one here, because 1.5 would be the center line. If we go 3 3.5. I think we'll do 3.5. Okay. And I'm just picking an amount that I will like, or that I like the way it looks. Because if we do this at 3.5, I think that gives me enough fabric coming over. Okay, so we're going to cut this piece out. Okay, we're cutting this. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to take this piece here and it is going to get glued in roughly in the middle, okay? So let's see what we've got going on here. I'm going to close up this glue. I've gotten some poured into my little cup here, so let's use this. Okay. All right, so we're just going to cover this piece of chipboard. This is our spine piece. Again, we want a good even coat of the glue on here. Okay, let's see what we've got happening here. Good. So we've got this going all the way down, and now we're going to try to get it centered. And I'm just eyeballing this, you know, trying to make it as good as I can. Push that down. We'll run over it with the brayer. Push this side down, good. So we've got that, and now we're going to pull out these covers. Okay, so this will be the front one. So this one will go here, and we're going to leave some space there. I want to leave about a 1/4 inch or so. What you can do is you can take like a ruler or something even and stand it in there if you want to keep it straight. It doesn't have to be a huge gap, just enough, right? Like so. And then what I'm going to do for this part is I'm actually going to trace it. And that shows me where to put my glue on the fabric. I might make that actually slightly less on this side. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing. We're just going to draw this right across here and right across here, and then we're going to leave about the same amount of space on this one. Okay, so we know where not to put our glue. So now, very carefully, and I'm going to use this underneath just to catch any excess glue, because it'll clean up off that ruler super easily. So we're going to take this fabric here and we are carefully going to paint our glue onto it, not going beyond those lines, making sure to get it right to the very edge as evenly as we can. Okay. Just going to keep going. Okay, so we've got that done. Now we're going to just lay this down and we're going to take our cover and we are going to lay it on here. We are going to get this as straight as we can and as even as we can. Grab that brayer and we're going to bray that on. Okay, and now wipe this off. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. Again, make sure to get that glue all the way to the edge. This edge here is the most important. We need it right to that edge. Okay, let's see here. Just about there. Okay, again, we will move that over. Grab our other cover here. And this one, yes, it'll be like that. So we're going to stick this on here. Okay, we'll brayer this. So essentially what will happen is then we will have this come in here, like so. This is going to get glued in there. We'll have it covered. But these have to get folded over first and glued down as well. So same thing, we are going to cut these at a slight angle just to reduce a little bit of that bulk. And sorry, I was off camera doing that, so I'm just taking it down part way. And these cuts don't have to be perfect because it will be covered. Nobody will see it. All right, back to our glue. Same thing here. We are going to glue this, and I'll put my little ruler underneath. So really, you only want the glue, you need it to the end. You want it as even as possible right to the end. Okay? And then we're going to take this and we're going to fold this up. I'm going to brayer that, do a little bit of folding and bending. Okay, if it's squishing out a bit here, don't worry. Like I said, we're going to put a little bit of trim on there. Okay, let's do this end quickly. Okay, fantastic. All right, same thing here. We're going to pull this up and over. Give it a good roll with the brayer. Do some more of this folding. Okay. So it's starting to come together. It's starting to look like something here. And it's looking fabulous. So then, when everything is said and done, we're going to have a beautiful book. Okay? So now what we need to do is we just need to kind of wait and let this glue dry a bit. We don't want to do it too soon because then it is going to be little, well, we could maybe do this side. Because we do want this to come up onto here. So we could do that part since we have glue poured out. So what we'll do is we're going to get this aligned properly. Right to the very end of that one. So we need something to put underneath here. I happen to have some plastic sheets here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly cut these roughly in half. Okay, so we can use these. So what we'll do, these were just off of laminating pouches and I just wanted the sticky laminate part, not this, so I cut them off. So we will place this in here. It will be just big enough. Okay. Get those threads out. We've got the book lined up. We have the insert lined up exactly where we want it. Make sure, check all your sides, your spacing's good. Okay, it matches up with that back cover. Test it out when we close the book. Everything is good. Okay, so we are going to put glue on this fabric up to the line. Okay, we don't want to go over onto this part. This part is not going to be covered or glued on. Okay, just these fabric flaps. So here we go. So we're just going to paint it like this, just right up to that edge. right, we're just about there. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to take another one of these sheets. We're going to slide it underneath and then pull this one out because we do want to protect the paper underneath. We don't want that glue to get on it. Okay, and we are going to very carefully close this down. Okay, so then we can lift it up. We can kind of make sure everything's smooth, it looks good. We'll keep this plastic sheet in here to protect the page. We'll take the brayer and we'll just brayer it from the top, okay? Leaving that plastic piece in here to protect the page. Okay, so we want to keep that protected. We are going to fold it over and do the same on this side. Okay. So try to pull some of these frayed pieces off. Okay, one plastic sheet in place to protect the paper. We'll need more glue poured out. Same thing, we're going to start up here, right just to the edge. We don't want to go over. Okay, really get that glue moved. Okay. There we go. Again, same thing. We're going to switch out the plastic film. This one can go under. This one can come out. Okay. We're going to very carefully close this up, pick it up. Okay, try to make sure that these are up as much as possible. Have this plastic in here. Okay. Okay, and we'll have it like this. Now we're going to open this side up here because we do want it to be able to lay flat like that when we open it, okay? You see? We do want it to be able to do that, but we need to go to this back side and make sure that this is going to be on just right. Because we do want the same thing. We want it all to be able to open and to be flat, okay? Now this shifted a whole whack here. Let's fix this. This is why you don't play with it while it's wet, because it will shift and move. Okay. So this is what we have so far. So we're going to let this dry. Once this is dry, we're going to come in and we will finish off our first page as well as our last page back here. We will get everything set up properly. We will do the finish decor on it, some final decoration. But for now, this needs to dry. I don't want these pieces sticking to it, so I'm just gonna kind of lift them up. So for now, I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to put something heavy on it, namely my paper pads, my paper trimmer. We'll let those sit on there. We'll let this dry. I'll wash out my brushes and I will be back when we're ready to proceed. So now we have let everything dry. Let's take a look. We can open it up and we can take this clear plastic out. So this is what our inside looks like now. Okay, for the front cover. And inside the back cover, we can take this out. This is what we've got. So now there's a couple of things that we want to do. Before we finish off the inside, I do want to clean this up. So I'm just going to take my little scissors and I'm going to come along and trim up these little frayed bits because I don't want those. So now, if you want to seal the cover with Mod Podge, this would kind of be the time to put it over the paper covered, and then, you know, paint it onto this, let it dry, flip it over, paint it onto the back side, let it dry. I'm unsure if I want to seal mine. I think maybe I better. So let's consider our options on what we're going to do. The outside, we should coat this in the Mod Podge. So I have my Mod Podge here. I've got the same big brush that I was using for the glue, and I'm just going to paint it on. I might do it this way and then this way because the Mod Podge you may get some brush strokes. Okay, so I'm back, and so I have got this Mod Podge layer is dried on here. So we can go ahead and continue on now with the process. So I want to put the ribbon trim on next, so we will get that glued on. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with this nice cream colored ribbon here. We'll get that put right over the seam first. Okay, so I'm going to cut off, we'll cut this straight across, and then we're going to cut this off definitely longer than what we need. Okay, and we're going to flip it over so we can put the glue on it. I'm going to open up my Aleene's Tacky Glue, which is very full here. I'm going to go to a bit of a smaller brush. Seems to be a little bit of a clump right there. Okay, and we are going to put this on this ribbon. We want to get it on as close to the edges as possible. My glue here is a bit of a mess, but that's okay. It's kind of on its last legs, this bottle. That's why it's like that. Okay, and I'm doing this on my notebook so I can kind of see how far to take that. Now we're going to take this ribbon, we're going to flip it over, and I'm going to lay it just barely over the seam of that fabric. Okay, we're going to lay that down, push it down. We will open up the inside, and this is where this will get glued down. So we're going to go again with the glue. Okay, and we are going to tape this glue all the way down the remainder of the ribbon. Try not to get it too thick. You just kind of want it to be nice and covered. Okay, we are going to pull that up and over, and we're just going to secure that down. Okay, same thing on this side. We are going to get this nicely coated. Sorry, probably have my arm in the way. Okay, just nicely coated. All the way to the end. And then we will pull that up. It does not have to be completely straight because this will get covered. Okay, you do want the front of it to be as straight as possible. And now we are going to do the same thing with this darker ribbon, where we will cut it off longer than we need. Okay. And we're going to flip this ribbon over so that we can get the glue onto it nicely. Again, we want it to be, you know, right across the entire thing. I'm actually going to grab one of my clear sheets. Where did those go? That we were using before with the glue. We're going to put this underneath. Okay, and then this way we can work a bit faster without worrying so much about getting it onto the actual cover of the book itself. And we will just work it all the way down the ribbon. Okay. off of there, move that over, and let's place this down. Now we want to get it, okay, so that there, we want to get it centered. So I'm going to push it down slowly because I want to try and keep it centered on that cream ribbon. There we go, nice. We will open that up. Same thing here, we're just going to kind of put some glue down. This time I'm just going to put it down on the cream ribbon and we will cover that up. Like so. Same thing on this side here. I'm not so worried with this because this will be covered up shortly. So we will put that down like that. Okay, fantastic. So there we have that. It looks beautiful. I'm very happy with it. Minus this one little string here. Let's see if we can get that up. There we go. Okay, so that looks great. Love the way it looks. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing to the other end. I am going to put one of these dry clear sheets in just in case if there's any wet glue there. We don't want it leaking through. And what we can do on this side as well is we can go ahead and punch our 2 holes while we have our glue out. So I'm going to grab my Crop-A-Dile. If you don't have a Crop-A-Dile, you can use a hole punch. It will be hard to go through your chipboard depending on what type of material you used for that. So with my Crop-A-Dile, I have 2 different sizes of holes that we can do. I'm going to I'm going to do the bigger one so that it's easier to thread the ribbon through. Okay, and then there's also, you can decide how far in. So I'm going to go in to the 1/2 inch mark, and then I will take this and it will go a 1/2 inch in, and I'm going to get it close into the corner here, and just like that we have our hole. Okay, and same thing on this side. I'm going to eyeball it for distance, and we're going to punch in our hole. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to set the eyelet so I have it to the right setting. I am going to pick what color eyelets I want to use. I have a couple of options here. I could go with a black, which I'm kind of not so sure that I like the black. I could go with a gold, and I'll probably do the gold because I think it looks the best with the colors we've got going on with this particular journal. Okay, now what I want to do is with my elastic here, I do want to punch a hole through this as well, and I should have had this glued on first. Didn't think about that. So now I'm going to try to just punch a hole in the fabric, which sort of worked. I will have to go in with my scissors. I think what I would do next time is I would probably go ahead and glue it down first and then punch it. But for this time, for this instance, it will be a bit different. So I'm going to do the same thing over here where I'm going to just start a hole punch, and then I can cut it out with my scissors the rest of the way. Okay, now we're going to get some glue down, and I'm going to put some glue over where this hole is. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to just glue it on. Okay, I want to make sure that these ends are nicely glued down too. I don't really care too much how it looks because it will be covered. I just want those flattened on there nicely. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to have the nice side from there. So that's going to come through. Okay, we're going to use the Crop-A-Dile here. So on the Crop-A-Dile, you can see this little nub that goes inside of the eyelet. We give it a squeeze and the eyelet is set. It's also grabbed onto that ribbon, which is now glued in and held in place with an eyelet. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing on this side where we will put some glue down. And this one will be a little bit trickier because it's going to be stretched a bit. So I'm going to use one of my clips to kind of help hold it once we've figured out where exactly it needs to be, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to take this clip right here and I'm going to try and angle it so I can hold it while I do the eyelet. Might be tricky, especially since I only want the fabric on that part. Okay, so I'm holding it out of the way. Okay, squeeze, and it is set. Good. Okay, so now we have our closure here. Oh, hang on. Okay. And I may have put this on backwards. Nope, it works. It does twist. So I did kind of put that on a little wonky. I wanted it that way. So, lesson learned. Put it on the wrong way. Let's see if we can get this up. I don't think we can. It's too late. Too late for this one. So for this one, what'll happen is when the book is closed and we use the elastic to have that side showing, it will just be twisted. And it is what it is. That, or it'll just be the brown. And you know what, that's okay. I don't mind the not shiny brown side either because it kind of does match with this a bit more. But that's basically how that will work. So you've got your two eyelets there. You've got your elastic band. If you don't want to use it, you just fold it over and it's good. Okay, these are stuck on here. They're already glued down pretty well, which is nice. So we can carry on. I will put my eyelet Crop-A-Dile tool away. I always put it in the wrong way. Okay, done with that. And what I was thinking that I could do is I could cover those, but they don't bother me at all. So we will move on to the back cover with the ribbon. So again, we will take this cream colored ribbon. We will cut it bigger than what we need. Okay. We are going to paint the glue on it. Very carefully so we don't get it on the cover of our book. All right, same thing, we are going to flip this over. I am going to put it, I'm going to use my hands to kind of guide where it is. I'm just going to put it right over that right over this seam. Okay, we'll open this up. And we'll get some glue going along this part here. Okay, same thing with this, open the end. We're in the home stretch, guys. Thank you all for sticking through this video. I know it will be a long one, but I appreciate you guys sticking through it with me. Okay, we've got that stuck down. Put one of our little plastic sheets in here to protect our pages. Do the same with this darker brown ribbon. Now for this one, I'm going to be using my little plastic protector side again. Okay, make sure we have the right side. Just going to hold this as I go. Okay, let's get this up. And we're going to get this stuck down. Again, we want this in the middle. So I'm very slowly going to start sticking it down, starting on one end. Okay. And again, open it up. Tape down or glue down these ends here. Okay, we'll glue down this end. Okay. Got glue on my fingers, so that is done. Okay, here we are. So I am absolutely thrilled with how this is looking. We are almost finished, you guys. Let's get our paper trimmed to put inside the inner cover here. So for that, I'm going to be using this paper here. So we need to trim this down to 9 inches because we don't want it to be bigger than our paper here. Let me grab my trimmer. Okay. Get the paper trimmer out. Trim this down to 9 inches. Okay, that's perfect. And I'm going to pull out the scoreboard here. Okay, so we're going to take this piece and we're going to sort of decide roughly where we want to crease it at. So I'm thinking pretty close to half. Okay, so I'm going to score it right. I scored it at about 4 inches, and we will fold that over. Move the scoreboard out of the way. Okay. Get our glue. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it upside down in this cup again so that we can have it drain out into there. In the meantime, what we are going to do is we are just going to put glue on this portion that we are going to glue down here, okay? And we're going to glue it on and we're going to line it up with the tops and the bottom of the paper on this side, okay? So let's start by doing that. Okay, so we've got that spread out. We've got the whole sheet coated. We're going to come over to the side, okay, and we're going to very carefully place this down. So what we want to do is we want to very carefully place it down. You want to line up the paper. Okay, we do want this to be straight. Okay, I'll lay that down there. We will have that folded up. Okay, and when we have it like this, we really want to run this crease in there. We want to make sure that it's going to fold. We want to make sure that it's going to open, okay? Fold and open. Really work that crease. Okay, and once we have it to a place where it will be okay, then we are going to take this. We're going to fold it over. We're going to see because there might be a little bit of overhang, but that's okay. Okay, so now what we do is we're going to put glue on this side. So we've got that covered. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and close the book. And then we will open it back up. Okay, like that. Whatever needs to be trimmed off this page, we can trim. Take my little scissors, I will turn it this way. Okay, trimmed that down. We have that in place. Okay. Fantastic. Now we want to put these two in, we can. And what I might do is I might switch over to my Mod Podge glue. So I might do it kind of like that. Or it's like that and like that. It's kind of like it a little, kind of like it like that. And then it doesn't get in the way of the fold. Okay, let's do it like this. So let's grab the Mod Podge and we'll go with this. It is a lot runnier than the glue we were just using. Okay, we are going to take this, we are going to lay this down in a fashion that we like so. Okay, that is laid down. I will grab my brayer and we will run over that with the brayer, make sure it's on really good. Okay, and then now we'll do the same thing with this one here. We will use the Mod Podge and we are just going to cover that. Make sure we get all the way to these edges. Okay. There we go. And we're going to put this one down, I think like that. Okay, I like that. We will run the brayer over it. And now for these two inside pages, I think I'm going to do one thin coat of the Mod Podge just to kind of seal this up. Okay everybody, so we're back again, and this is kind of where we've left off. We've got the outside covers completed. I finished the inside. We can take this plastic sheet out of the front, and now we just need to complete the inside of the back and our art journal will be done. So for this back side, I want to start off by trimming down this paper so that we can attach it something like this. Then we are going to use these pieces here to make a pocket along this back side here. Let's start by gluing down this sheet, and I did pull out some clear Aleene's tacky glue just in case I don't have enough of the white tacky glue to get this done, okay? I did try using the Mod Podge to glue these pieces down, and it bubbles a bit more than the Aleene's. I really do prefer the Aleene's tacky glue. The Mod Podge I like to seal it, but I prefer the Aleene's for actually gluing it down. And for the back, I don't think I'm going to necessarily seal it because we're going to have those pocket pages. And for my personal use, the back won't get used as much as the front. But that could change. I may decide to seal it, but at this point I don't think I will. Okay, so let's pull out our paper trimmer. We'll move this to the side. And so we are going to trim this at 9 inches. here. All right, so I'm going to score it somewhere in along this point. So let me grab the scoreboard. Okay, and it's kind of near this white line that I wanted to score it. So the closest to that, I might do it about here. And you know what, since we have the scoreboard out, I'm going to take the two little sheets that I want to make the pocket pages with. I'm going to take these and I'm going to score, and I'm going to score it so it comes not quite to the 4. So I'm going to score it at the 3 3/4 mark along the bottom of both. And then I'm going to do the top edge of one and the bottom edge of the other. Same thing, we're going to score it at, so it's a 1/2 inch. Okay. And then we can put the scoreboard away just because it's big and bulky. Okay, so we've got our art journal back here. We are going to fold and crease that score line. So that is going to be essentially right in here, okay? So we're going to start by attaching it to the back cover first. So we will need our glue. Let's see how much we've got left here in the regular tacky glue. Well, we've got some in there. So let's see if there's enough to do this. I'm going to we are going to come in and we are going to lay this down. So I like to have this sitting so that I can see that fold line. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of try and line this up with that fold line, and then I'll just, so I have it lined up, and I push the crease into that corner, and then I will just close the cover, and that will kind of help me to determine where that's going to lay, and we will just push it down. You can get the brayer out and you can go over that as best as you can with the brayer. Just get it nice and laid down, and then we are going to open it up. And we're going to do the same on this side, only we're going to leave a bit of a space this time just for it to be in this crease. So with the bone folder here, I'm going to really run it in the crease mark there so we can get a good idea, okay? So now I've got a fair bit of glue coming out into this container. So I'm going to switch that back so it can sit in the lid so we can use this. And same thing, we are going to take this, we are going to fold it down, okay, and then we're going to open it up. I will grab this brayer, we will give that a good bray, and I like to just open and close it a few times, get that page kind of moving. Okay, get a feel for it. We will come in and trim that slightly. All right, good. So that is on there nicely. So while that dries, we can kind of close that for a few minutes. I'll flip it upside down so we've got the weight sitting on it. So with these pieces here, if you flip it over, it's easier to see the score lines. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come and I'm going to cut by my score lines angles in these corners. Okay, and then on this one, just going down like this, and that just helps to get rid of some of this bulk. And then we are going to fold these up. So you want to fold them so that they will be behind the pocket. Okay, so essentially this gets glued in and this creates your pocket. Okay, so we're going to do the same on the other one. So if you can see, here are my two score lines. We are going to cut it across, very much like when we were wrapping the cover. Okay, and then we'll cut at an angle on that end. We're going to fold it. Okay, I like to take my bone folder and really give that a good sharp crease. Okay, the other one, run over it with the bone folder. So now we are going to open up this back cover. Okay, and so these are going to get fit into place. So where you've got the two, that will go on the edge, like so, and that gets folded down, and that essentially creates your pocket. Now for this one, we want it to go on this side, and because we're using two pieces of cardstock to create one pocket, we are going to kind of mark off where we want these attached to, and it's going to be right along the edge of this stripe here. So I'm just going to grab a pen. That pen, okay, we're going to grab a pen, and I'm just going to mark with an arrow the line that we want to go up to. So what we need to do is we need to put glue up until this line here, and then this one is going to get folded in onto that piece there. We also want to know how far down. Okay, so it's like there. So we're going to fold this over, and we're going to make a mark on the back of the piece that will be on top, because we're going to cut that excess tab off. Otherwise it just creates too much bulk. Okay, so we're just going to cut that off. So now when we have these glued together, like so, we can glue these on so that they look like they're the same height still, just like that, okay? And that's how it'll look. And nobody will ever know that that was two pieces of paper unless they go and feel the edge. All right, so let's get those glued together. So what we're going to do is we're going to put glue on this piece up until that line there. So again, we're just going to stick with the Aleene's tacky glue. And you do want this right to the edge again. Now, if you do want to coat this with the Mod Podge, I would do this. I would assemble the pocket, and then I would coat it before gluing it into the book. That way you don't run the risk of gluing it shut. Gluing the pocket shut, not the book. Okay, so now we are going to take this and we are going to place this over. We're going to get it nice and straight. Make sure that our fold still works. Okay, and we are going to brayer this down I like to go over it on both sides. Really get that secured in place. Okay, and now another thing you can do is I have a 1/2 inch circle punch here. And what you can do is you can kind of eyeball roughly where the middle is of this piece. And I like to actually flip my punch upside down so that I can see how deep that circle will be, because I only want it to be about halfway. And to me, that looks like it's about the middle. And you can decide how deep do you want this hole punch to go. I want it to be about like that. You can measure it and have it exact. This is my art journal. It doesn't need to be exact for me. I think it'll be right about there. So we'll punch that through. And now when you put this pocket page on, you can really tell that it's a pocket because it's got that little half circle cut out on it. So now we are going to put glue on these tabs and get this pocket page glued into our book. So for this, we are going to just get glue down. And for this part, it doesn't have to be as exact as we have been with the other pieces, because these won't, they won't be exposed edges, so you don't have to worry about them getting caught on things and getting pulled up. You just need enough glue on this that it'll adhere with a nice strong bond. Okay, so we're just going to put this down all the way along. And you want to make sure that this glue is all the way dry before you actually put anything into these pockets. Otherwise, it may not come back out. And this pocket at the back of the book will be a great place to store if you have some little ephemera or some little odds and ends that you want to use in one of your art journaling pages. Little scraps and bits and things like that. If you want to do like a junk journal page or something, great place to store all those things. All right. So we've got glue on all those edges. Let's open this back up. And put this in place. And that also will hide where we attached the ribbon, the elastic ribbon. Okay. You do have a couple of moments where you can kind of play with the placement. Once you've got it down how you like it, you really want to just kind of squeeze that down. I'm going to grab my brayer and run over it. If you're doing a lot of paper crafting and you do not have a brayer, I highly recommend getting one. All right, there we go. And now we have a pocket that we can use to put things in. And with that, we have a completed art journal. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Thank you for joining me. As always, I love to hear your thoughts. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this project. My sticker shop is going to be opening shortly. And I have been considering possibly making some art journals to sell on there. So leave me a comment down below. Let me know if that'd be something that you'd be interested in. As always, have a great day, guys. Bye.